umbrellas around. There's a shortage of those people today. But Vince looks like he's ready. So Vince, the show is yours. Your title is Shut Up About Joseph Kony.
Morning, everyone. My speech today is Shut Up About Joseph Kony. So, today we're going to do a few things. First, we're going to review a very stupid viral video about Joseph Kony. Sure, at least some of you have heard about it. And then we're actually going to learn about Joseph Kony, who he really is. Then we're going to learn all about the Invisible Children, the corporation that put out that video. And then we're going to learn the real reason for worrying about the guy. So, let's talk about this stupid viral video. So, in case you haven't noticed, or you haven't heard about it, well, it has over 75 million views, so I'd be kind of weirded out if none of you have heard about it, or if anybody ever, if you haven't heard even word one about it. But anyway, so it exposed Ugandan rebel leader Joseph Kony as a war criminal. That's basically what it's about. It's extremely well produced. I would imagine it costs many hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was shot on multiple continents, just kind of all over the place. You see these guys everywhere, like, wow, man, this is a giant, extreme extravaganza video. It has great graphics, great animations, really well done as far as quality is concerned. And it's clearly made by an experienced filmmaker, because it seems like this guy really, really did his homework on how to make a documentary. So first we're going to look at a little clip of it, to show you just how well done it is and how they're exposing this guy.
Does anyone have a balloon?
The truth is, Kony abducts kids just like Gavin.
Do we know?
It was audio.
It was audio. You could hear it?
Yeah, just turn it up a little bit.
From with speakers.
Some speakers?
On the ceiling.
How do I hear that?
It's okay.
Point to the screen and point to the video. There's audio control on the screen right now.
Yeah.
It was
good.
It's fine.
It's fine.
You can hear it?
Yeah, it was very well.
I can hear it.
You're still ordering that hearing aid?
The truth is, Kony abducts kids just like Gavin. For 26 years, Kony has been kidnapping children into his rebel group, the LRA. Turning the girls into sex slaves. And the boys into child soldiers.
As you can see,
He makes them mutilate people's faces.
extremely well done. A lot of very vivid imagery. Very unique ways of twisting the pictures to make it look really weird and 3D. Extremely well done. Now, that was kind of the gist of the information you ever get out of it. The rest of it is fluff and really, really stupid. I'm telling you, it's a half-hour of junk. So first off, as an avid documentary and film watcher, I'm telling you right now, this guy really studied how to make a documentary. He used a lot of cliches, platitudes. The whole thing, I'm telling you, it's half-hour of specific nonsense. And he injected his 5-year-old son way too much. He didn't just mention it or like, I want a better world for my 5-year-old son. He was talking about it all the time, constantly bringing him in. He like interviewed him for some dumb reason. I'll show you that in a second. And he himself, like the narrator and a lot of the other people from the video, are just really pretentious, annoying, and just they're like a bunch of hippies just kind of globetrotting. They seem like they're just having fun. They don't even understand anything. You know, like those hippies out in the corner chanting about something and they don't understand. Just like that. It really seemed like his target audience was just blithering morons. We're talking knuckle dragging, mouth breathing idiots. I was just offended watching it. Like, you know, I'm not stupid. You can tell me what's really going on. And it was extremely light on content. I showed you everything that was valuable. a war criminal, abducts kids, turns them into child soldiers, and makes them violent. And he portrays Africans as completely helpless, and like, we have to help them. They can't help themselves. They're totally useless. They're totally just sitting there throwing their hands up. Like, they don't actually help each other. Like, they don't have governments or armies or anything. And it's kind of offensive. So, yeah. Tried to have them set up so that they started automatically. So here's some 5-year-old stuff.
What do I do for a job?
We stop the bad guys and being mean.
Who are the bad guys?
Yeah.
Can I tell you the bad guy's name? This is the guy, Joseph Kony.
He's a bad guy.
The bad guy?
Yeah. Joseph Kony, he has an army, okay? And what he does is he takes children from their parents and he gives them a gun to shoot, and he makes them shoot and throw other people.
But they're not going to do what he says.
Yeah, they don't want to do what he says, but he forces them to do bad things. What do you think about that?
Makes him a sad panda. This is like the whole gist of the whole film. Where it seems like he's talking to us as a whole time. So this part is kind of it goes on from. This is again another part where it's really trying to show you just how dumb he thinks you are. Random chanting. Crowds of people. They're running. Over. What is the message here? Now all of a sudden they're partying, having fun. There's wood crowd, running around. It's like a party all. What happened? What's the message here? They're throwing bricks. They're having fun. They're driving around. Where are they going with this? And it's really impressive at the same time, by the way. One thing I found out when I was researching this is that they went to Africa to make a documentary and they didn't know what about it. So they went to Sudan and were kind of wandering around and eventually came across this idea of Joseph Kony. So they didn't go there to go after a terrible Ugandan warlord. They went there to make a documentary. So these are images, just still images from kind of the opening couple minutes of it. And you can see, and they use some cliches. I've heard this phrase quite a bit before. Nothing is more powerful than an idea if it's time has come. How is it an idea to get rid of warlord? That's not an idea. An idea is like end slavery. And he's just using, like I said, he's really just looking at all these different documentaries and trying to pick out kind of the best ideas. I find it really offensive to be honest. And here are pictures of some kids kind of emotionally tugging at you. These kids, this is, by the way, this is very old. This is at least like a 10-year-old shot here. And it was of kids who would kind of congregate together so that they wouldn't be abducted. So they kind of use that to pull insurance. So who exactly is Joseph Kony? He is the head of the Lord's Resistance Army, shortened to the LRA, which is a Ugandan rebel group, which kind of mixes together mysticism, Acholi nationalism. Acholi is a tribe in Africa, and Christian fundamentalism, strangely enough. And they have abducted thousands of kids to be soldiers, and they've abducted a lot of female children to be turned into sex slaves. And Joseph Kony was indicted for war crimes by the International Criminal Court in The Hague in 2005. That's a very bad person. There are a lot of warlords out there who's one of those ones. He left Uganda years ago, way before this video was made. The video admits this. The video also says that Uganda is, quote, relatively safe. So what's the fuss? Why are we even talking about it? Ugandans aren't worried about him. They're not worried about him anymore. He's gone. And everything in the video that they're talking about that you're supposed to be trying to prevent, stop, and help and everything, it's all over. So nobody seemed to worry about him when he was in power 20 years ago. Nobody cared in the late 80s, early 90s. Now all of a sudden, this stupid viral video pops up, and then all of a sudden we're supposed to go out and stop it. And a lot of people seem to think that he might actually even be dead. So Invisible Children, who are they? It is the corporation that made the viral video. They have a 2-star rating from Charity Navigator. I mean, they don't do very well. They don't give up very much of their money to the cause they're supposed to be fighting. They directly support military intervention by the Ugandan People's Defense Force. The UPDF has also recruited child soldiers, so I don't really know how much better they are. They've also been accused of genocide. They like to intervene in neighboring countries' politics. Sometimes they end up doing a lot of damage. Their budget breakdown for the Invisible Children, in their own words, 37% goes to sexual activity-related programs. Very vague, and nothing specifically about going after Joseph Kony, stopping the LRA. 20% off the top goes to salaries and overhead of the people making the videos. And 43%, the majority, the plurality of all of this, more than anything else, goes to awareness programs. Now, we're not talking awareness, we're talking about awareness of them and their videos. Okay? Now, of course, that might include talking about Joseph Kony, but when all is said and done, they're trying to, they spend 43% of their money making more money. In 2011, last year, they tripled their income to $9 million. $1.7 million was paid to U.S. employees. $850,000 was spent making film. More than likely, the majority of that going to the one that I talked about here. About $244,000 was spent on lobbying. What? You're talking in the U.S., trying to lobby them to invade the country. Over $1 million was spent on travel costs. You saw where they were going. You saw them flying around, going to different universities all over the different countries of the world, running around in the hills and mountains. That cost a lot of money. And about $400,000 was spent on offices in San Diego. So yeah, they're supposed to be helping people, but what are they doing? They're goofing around, surfing in San Diego. Why aren't they setting up shop in Uganda somewhere? So their solution: spread their video. Right at the end, they tell you, here's what you got to do. You got to tell everybody about this. Then you got to buy a $30 action kit. And what's in it? 2 bracelets and a little bit of literature about how to spread the word. You're supposed to keep one bracelet, keep one together. And they sold, I think they've sold over 500,000 so far. That's a lot. $15 million to throw away on them. Alright, so I'm only going to show you a couple, but I was seeing article after article after article critiquing these people, and I'm going to read them. I've kind of summarized their points so far. And then I've seen some videos from actual Ugandans saying, this girl called this BS. Oh, she's different. She's 100% Ugandan. Her family never talks about Kony. And when she asked them about it, because she's a painter there, she's lived in America most of her life, and they laughed. They're like, what the heck? Her mom thinks he's dead, and her dad's like, he's been gone for years. Why are you guys caring about that? And this lady is Ugandan, and she really was more upset by the poor Africans that was just replete in that. Like I was saying before, it's really offensive to say that they can't figure this out themselves, that they can't stop someone. If Joseph Kony's from there, why can't somebody stop him from there? She knows that they've been driving him on their own already, so what's the problem? And they don't want foreign intervention. The LRA only went to war with Uganda and rebelled against them over resources anyway. And they're pretty sure that the only reason we're getting involved is for the same reason. Alright, so the real reason. The film points out that the U.S. sent troops to Uganda last year. Why? I don't understand. Kony's not there. Why are we sending troops there? They acted like it was a victory for their cause. They showed it like, yay, Obama sent troops to Uganda. This is just another humanitarian resource grab, just like Libya. Whenever we go into these countries, I'm telling you, it's just a resource grab. It's just a power play to get a good foothold into an area.
But the film doesn't mention that Kony hasn't even been in Uganda for years. But you know what has been in Uganda and still is in Uganda? Oil reserves.
Of Lake Albert, under the water and the lagoons, there are riches. Enough oil to dramatically change the fortune of Uganda. Uganda and the oil executives insist that mistakes in past oil booms such as Nigeria and Angola won't be repeated. Exploitation, pollution, corruption. What's called the curse of African oil.
Yes, oil reserves in Uganda that, according to some reports, are larger and more abundant than those in Saudi Arabia.
That's what they're fighting over, and that's what we're fighting over, and that's what China's trying to do, and China goes to Africa as well. They don't actually care about Africa, and we don't, because if we did, we would have done something 25 years ago. So, in conclusion, things I want you to take home today is, when the average idiot walking down the street, they might not even know that Uganda exists, let alone be able to point it out on a map. And then, half hour later, there's supposed to be some sort of activist, some sort of expert on Uganda and their plight and their politics. That's insane. If you don't know anything about Uganda, in half an hour, you're still not going to know anything about Uganda. So don't start spreading a video around and buying this dumb kit or whatever. Really, no matter what, always do your due diligence. If you're watching something that is just obviously a bunch of just drivel, like that is, please do research. Please look at all differing opinions, things like that. The U.S. military does not invade. We haven't invaded a country offensively for any sort of good reason. Certainly in my lifetime, probably not ever. And there's no such thing as a humanitarian mission. We don't attack a random African nation to help them. That's never happened and never will happen. So don't fall for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex is going to be our next speaker, and he may be a very talented speaker, he may know tech, but he doesn't know what time of the year to take vacations. This guy is confused because I went out to the Black Hills